welcome back.
Bit of cutting later.
Bit of cutting and a lot of grinding back later. So yeah, this is the end result of what we found. Obviously there was quite a few patches that have been put in place. So obviously this is where this panel comes in. It's spot welded to these uprights here and down here. So if we put that into place where it's going to be, which is there, you can obviously see there's a big void. So unfortunately I've got to rebuild this, finish rebuilding this upright. I have to take that out and rebuild this because I have a spot weld that goes there. And if you go actually into the arch and look behind here, you'll see where we was talking earlier about having to cut out further. Just here, you can see it's all blistering there. So we're going to have to go quite a lot further in to get rid of that rust in there.
It's really important to do that as well. Roy's making a very good point there, is, you know, being aware of what is on the inside face is extremely important, because there's no good just repairing this and then, you know, in a year or so's time you get another blister coming through. That's not what we want to see, so
not really.
Got to pay close attention to that sort of thing.
Yeah, so obviously we've got the inner seal cut off. As you can see, what we call the inner upright has gone on the end. Don't need to replace all of it. We'll probably cut it to about here, come across, and we'll remake the bottom of this lip as well. So obviously the seal end plate can be spot welded to it as well. Weld that in. If you also look down through here, you can see this is the original.
Hang on, I haven't got in there very well. There we go.
So this is the original rear box section, and it hasn't been all cut away. It's just been placed over to just get it for an MOT basically. You can see the corrosion that's down in through there. It's not too bad.
No, we normally see it a lot worse than that actually. With
the
extent of everything else. But
so what we'll do is we'll cut it down. I'll probably cut it to about here, sort of around this area, and then we'll cut that whole section out and we'll rebuild that to get rid of all the rust. I haven't taken the inner arch out yet, because I haven't got that far. But also, we don't normally...
I'm getting blinded by the light, right?
Are you?
Yeah.
Blinded by the light, so. Normally, I wouldn't actually cut it off here because obviously where it's been plated before, it is already attached inside here. But normally, I would leave a section in just past here, just so I know that this is in the right place.
Gives you a reference point.
I know it's obviously, it can only butt up as far as it can there, but you can actually move, you can actually tweak the panels either way like that, and it'll make this panel either come in or out, and also...
It goes lower than that, doesn't it, so it lines up with the...
It actually sits there.
Is it?
Yeah, if you go,
it actually
sits along there. For some reason, even from factory, these dimples never line up with the swans line. I don't know why. I've lost my train of thought now.
That's all right.
That's all right.
I'm just going to move this so it's in there so we can see a bit better.
Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, once this is in and this is on, obviously that's what I was saying. The movement of this going like that also corresponds to where this panel goes when I weld that in.
Sure, yeah.
Because obviously you've got the different angles and different heights of the panel. So of course, if it's too far that way, then obviously it's not. You can't bring it in far enough. So before that gets welded in, you make sure you cut this panel to the shape you want it, and then you can tweak it, clamp it all into place, then you can spot weld this in.
Yeah, because if you get this wrong at this stage, that gives you massive problems when you go to put the outer on, doesn't it?
It does indeed. So yeah, once that's done, then I'll move on to the inner arch, which obviously now I can bring down to where it needs to be, spot weld it here, and carry on from there basically.
Alright, so we'll leave you to that, and at what point do you reckon we'll come back and look at it? I suppose once this bit's repaired and you've got that sill end plate and this bit done.
I'll get this bit done.
Yeah.
I'll get these repaired, I'll get it all cleaned up, repaired first. So that will be ready to go on.
Right.
And I think that's what we'll come back to.
Alright, okay.
So
see you in a minute.
A few hours to go.
Yeah, it'll be a minute for you guys, it'll be a few hours for Roy.
See you in a bit.
Right, it's a few days later. Roy's been doing a few other jobs. He's managed to get this all cut out and everything prepared. Can't quite remember where we were on the last video because, as I say, it's been a few days ago. So forgive us if we go over a few things twice, but you want to talk us through it, Roy?
Yeah. So I think last time we filmed, we had this cut open to the point where it was just full of holes. There was nothing repaired or anything like that. So everything's been cleaned up. It's been rust treated. So I've repaired this section up here because this from here upwards was missing. This is all been rebuilt and repaired. Got a repair in here. So now the CLM plate will go in there like that. So we'll spot weld this in. It gets spot welded down here, which is what I was just doing here, drawing a line for there. So
that's a new piece in there as well, isn't it?
This is a new piece in here, yeah, just finish this off. So yeah, so what we'll do is then we'll draw, we've got one that goes straight up, which is this up right here. And obviously I'll trace the other side of this.
Yeah.
And then we'll punch holes through it to plug weld that in. So, and we've also got our inner sill cut to shape. So, that back in now, and that goes in there like so, and that's your structural part of your car back together. And
a crucial point is this where this finishes here, isn't it, for the panel that goes round, because if you get that in the wrong place, especially if you get it too far that way, your outer panel is just going to be an absolute nightmare to fit.
You've kind of got to be a bit silly to get it wrong, because obviously where this goes along here, you have got different contours on the panel, so you have to obviously make sure they all match up. And if you've got them right, 9 times out of 10, this is correct here.
Yeah.
So I shall get these. I'll get these welded in today.
That's if anyone's looking at that going, oh my god, you left rust, that's just surface. That will actually also we'll cut this out probably up here and clean all that up, but that will only be surface rust.
Yeah, it's
there.
only surface rust there.
So that's kind of most of the internals done, except for the rear box section and jacking point, which will be done later on, won't it?
Yeah, that'll be done later on.
And then you've got
move on to rebuilding this.
Yeah, and sort of this will get sorted out at that point.
Yeah.
And new inner.
So I've got. It turns out I do actually have to rebuild all this because there's a nice little hole there. So I've had the last 2 or 3 I've done. I've actually had to rebuild.
Yeah, they haven't they?
Rebuild this section.
Yeah.
This one's not as bad as the last ones I've done, so it's going to be quite easy on. So, and we've had fun cutting the other side.
You made some snow, didn't you?
I did make a lot of snow this week. So it's the same as the other side. It had repairs done previously.
But this side looked better, didn't it? It looked better in terms of a rust point of view, but it wasn't quite the right shape. It definitely flared out more.
Yeah, definitely.
In this area, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So, anyways, I had to start sort of attacking it with Yay.
With the angry wheel.
I called it the Punisher. So yeah, I started sort of going back this area. I noticed it was obviously some tack welds, so I kept going and going and going, and ended up stopping here.
Yeah.
So obviously it's had a replacement arch at some point.
You said it's been tacked on. Let's get the camera in the right place. Yeah, it's been tacked on all the way around. I mean, we see that a lot actually, where panels get kind of get slid under the original and tacked in place. So it's not uncommon for us to see that.
No, so if you've got this section here, so there's your 2 layers.
Yeah.
So this would be your that would be a new panel there.
Yeah.
And this is the original panel here. So I've just tucked it up under, and then they've just tack welded it into place, and unfortunately filled it with filler. The previous repair, it did have a new sill section fitted. No drains ground out or anything like that. So that was, I had banged with it a bit trying to get it off. Yeah, it's not going to go back on. So
you can see where it went, yeah.
Yeah, you can see where it went. So obviously that went there. But the repairs that were done to it, you know.
Well, the thing is, it's like, I mean, when we do it, obviously, if a car's presented to someone and all this area here is all rotten out anyway, they don't necessarily know exactly how that's supposed to go. So obviously, because we do it all the time, we do know exactly how it can go, so it doesn't matter how rotten out it is. So I mean, what they did on this one was, they, as you say, Roy, they put that in, and then it looks like what they did is then use the rest of that panel, because this would have been a full length sill panel, and they've used the rest of that panel to then cut off and put on the outer. And
they, yeah, basically made a heavy gauge outer for it.
I mean, it's not the right way to do it. It did the job that it needed to do at the time.
Yeah.
And now we're putting it right. So, so yeah, so you can see that once we get all this cut open, it's going to be very much the same sort of job as the last side. Yeah, so we won't show any more on this side. You got a bit more. Again, you got a bit more to do at the back here, haven't you?
There's a bit
worse than the other side.
Accident damage on this side, which I'm going to have to sort out, because it's actually bulged in here as well. So I need to beat that back into shape. And then, yeah, we'll probably have to come out quite far here.
We're just going to show. I mean, like I say, I mean, you got.
You never know. You never know what's inside.
Yeah, you guys, you've seen what the other side looked like before we started. So, and you could see rust bubbles on that side. Whereas the side we've just shown you, you couldn't actually really see any rust bubbles. There's a few little telltale points. The fact that the sill itself was sticking out more, that's always a sign that perhaps things haven't been rebuilt in the way they should have been rebuilt. And another really good sign, which was on this car, which I can't show you now, but I'll show you on a different car, was the seam. Sorry, camera. Right, that's it. This is on one that we've repaired. That seam there, which runs roughly about 10 mil back from the bottom edge of the door, that wasn't there on that car. So that's always a really good sign. If that's not there, there's normally a reason for that. Right, okay, Roy, so what we'll do, we'll rejoin this once you've got, I guess once you've got all these areas put back in.
Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll get this area and the steel back on, and probably the jacking point rebuilt and done.
Okay.
And then
once you're ready,
we're going to go to the point where we'll start cutting that off.
All right. So maybe we'll rejoin it once you've got this cut out and your piece ready to go in there.
Yeah, we'll
rejoin it then.
And then yeah.
All right.
No worries.
Carry on.
Switch in a bit.
As if by magic, it's done. Well, that bit's done anyway.
Yeah.
It's not all done, is it?
Not quite.
No, a little bit more. Right, do you want to talk through it?
Yeah, it's looking more solid now. So, ceiling plate is now in place and all primed. The inner sill is also now in place and primed, ready for the outer panel to go on. And we go up. We have the rear box section repaired.
So you managed to retain the original?
Yeah, I managed to retain the original jacking point. Now this is how we build them, as opposed to what we see a lot of them being built as, and they literally do box them off.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's a lot easier to do that, so a lot of people will see that quite often, where it's boxed off rather than the more original looking curve, which is what you should see there originally. So we recreate that. Yeah, so the idea being that obviously once it's all under sealed and everything and treated, it looks as it should. So right, so that's the other thing to talk about. Obviously the seal drains. So when you get these seal panels, this lip will carry all the way along. In fact, in the pattern panels there is a lot bigger lip as well. So we trim that back to look more original, and then we notch out for these, and we make this much kind of more efficient than what it was originally. They block so easily originally, so we make sure that it's going to stay nice and clear and not be a problem going forward. So that sorts that one out. Right, so you've been working on getting the inner arch lip done, haven't you?
Yeah, and the to wait 5 years for the ramp to come down.
It was cold, isn't it? Oil's cold.
Yeah.
It takes longer to come down.
So, one original rotten inner arch. As I say, I had to go further because unfortunately it's rotted out around the back here. And here's one, as if by magic, I recreated.
Very nice, Roy.
It's not bad, is it?
It's almost like you might have done that before.
I might have done that a couple of times. So, this will then go with a bit of fettling. That'll go into place there and be welded into place. And then be ready to accept the, I'll have to trim this down. Because obviously with this being an outer panel, it's as wide as the outer panel. And what you really want to do is to trim this, so that when the outer panel overlaps this, so if this was the outer panel, you'd want the inner arch about there.
Yeah, you just want to step back a little bit.
You want to step back a little bit, yeah, so you can see it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if it's up to the edge, you can't seal it properly, and you just end up rotting out again. So that's my next mission, is to get this welded into here, like so, and then once that's done, I can then move on to the actual outer skin.
Okay, well we'll rejoin you once you're ready to weld that outer skin in.
Yep, no worries at all.
All right.
Speak to you soon.
See you later.
Bye.
Nice coffee, Roy?
Yeah, the famous coffee's back.
Yeah? Who made that one for you?
Oh, you. You make most of the coffees. Because you're a nice boss. Right.
Right, yeah. So, you're taking it off now, eh?
Yeah. Because you need to see what's inside.
The goodness inside. The juicy goodness.
So, inner arch, in, welded, ground back, ready for priming. The arch lip is being made shorter, obviously to allow the outer panel to be sealed to it properly once it's welded and ground back. It's actually quite really nice, this one.
They all come out really nice, Roy.
Yeah. This one didn't give me any hassle.
Oh, okay, we'll put it that way.
Better.
Yeah.
It went in really nicely. Probably because I've done a couple of them now. So that's ready to go. So the next stage is outer panel.
We'll bring it. We'll mention this. Remember, we spoke about that little bit of rust up here. Roy will just weld these little cuts back up before he puts the outer on.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see we've taken care of that as well.
So onto the outer panel. So from the repair panel, we cut down what we require. So this will go in like this. It's important to get this correct, the swage line. If you don't get it correct, it just won't go right at all. So all we do is we clamp it into place. I normally clamp it in 3 different places. So one there to get that correct, one here. You clamp it there, it pulls the panel out quite nicely. It gives you a chance to tweak it back in. So we'll clamp there like that, and then around the back here, and then we'll go around and tack it in various places. I tend to tack it in the corners first, because obviously with any welding, as soon as you touch it with a welder, you get heat distortion, panel moves, the gaps shrink. So let's try to get it tacked in as many places as possible before you start going around the...
I mean, it's all about heat management, isn't it? This
yeah.
piece is all about heat management. The more heat you put into it, the more distortion you'll get, but you need to get enough heat into it to get good penetration with the weld. So it's all about that balance. Some go better than others, but we've done enough of them now, so yeah. It's just all about that. So you got that, and then these panels need to be trimmed back here for that seam which I mentioned in one of the earlier bits, about 10mm from the back of the door. And then we've got all our punched holes for all the plug welds all the way around there, and then under here. So yeah, all as per original. Obviously originally they're spot welds, but in this case they have to be plug welds. So that's going to be it really, isn't it, for this video?
It is.
Yeah. You've seen the sort of the process there. There's no need for us to show you this welded afterwards. Once that's all done, it then gets stripped down, so the belt line moulding, rear light, everything gets stripped off of this panel. In this instance, he actually wants the aerial hull welded up, doesn't he?
Does, yes. So I've got to remove that and I'll make a disc out of it.
And then it'll go off to the paint shop for prep and paint, and that'll be the end of it. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. I'll just turn you around. Yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Something a little bit different. A few people had asked for a full cutout and then all the way through. So that's what we've done. If there's anything else you sort of people want, we'll try and do it. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.